Yes, students, good morning. Uh, we have been discussing about chapter number 14, ecosystem. So far, having completed the definition of ecosystem, the example in detail, the pond ecosystem, and the decomposition process as one of the important process taking place in every ecosystem. Going for the next, that is energy flow in an ecosystem. Okay, just a minute. Let's talk about energy flow in an ecosystem. We know that every ecosystem requires energy to run itself. An ecosystem will require two things. One is energy, and another one is nutrients, the matter in the form of uh, materials to be obtained from the soil and atmosphere, the gases to be obtained from atmosphere, the minerals to be obtained from the soil. So these type of nutrients or matter, and second is energy. These two are the basic requirements of any ecosystem to run itself. Energy flow and productivity are explaining the energy concepts in the ecosystem. Nutrient cycling will be explaining about how the nutrients will be flowing from within the ecosystem, from non-living to living and from living to non-living. So let us first discuss about energy matter. So we know that every ecosystem essentially it requires energy, no compromise in that. For most ecosystems on earth, virtually all, sun is the ultimate source of energy. Sun is the ultimate source of energy. But there is an exception. Only ecosystem that is known as deep sea hydrothermal vents. My question, do you know what are hydrothermal vents? Yes or no? Otherwise, first I will explain that and go to the next. My question to all of you is that, are you aware about the term hydrothermal vent? Deep sea hydrothermal vent? Geysers, yeah. Okay, anyone not clear? I can explain, otherwise I go to the next part of it. Okay, from the basin of the from the basin of the ocean, like this. The magma, the volcanic contents which are erupting out through the fissures on the basin of the ocean, and this smoky stuff that is coming out over there. Just like the volcanic activities on land, similar volcanic activities even occur in the basin of the ocean. So from the basin of the ocean, this smoky stuff coming out, it is known as hydrothermal vent. Number one. It is so deep, deep ocean where no question of light reaching over there. So in this area, there is no chance of having any producers. First of all, no producers, because there is no sunlight. So first of all, in this habitat, sun is not the source of energy, number one, so that there can be no producers also. But it is found that there is a small ecosystem within this setup. In this habitat, there is a community. When you say community, you understand various species and their populations are living together in this environment. So one entire community is living in this habitat to constitute the ecosystem. It is called as deep sea hydrothermal vent ecosystem. Deep sea hydrothermal ecosystem, rather, that is the name given to them. In this ecosystem, by the way, in a normal ecosystem, normal in terms of the one which is receiving solar energy, producers will start the food chains, flow of energy. Here, instead of producers, it is the chemosynthetic bacteria. Obviously, they are also producers, but they are not a photosynthetic producers. They are chemosynthetic producers. So I should specify that every ecosystem that is provided energy by the sun, the energy is captured by photosynthetic producers, such as algae, phytoplankton, trees, plants, etc. But in such deep sea hydrothermal ecosystem, the role of producers is not by photosynthetic one, it is done by which one? Chemosynthetic producers over there. That is the way one has to understand. ये 2-3 बार NEET exam, PMT exam में पूछा है question. This question has been asked in NEET exams, in PMT exams. So my recommendation, strong recommendation, underline this one and write down: chemosynthetic bacteria begin the food chain in deep sea hydrothermal ecosystem. Who will repeat the statement I have given? Any one student? Will any one student repeat what I said? And that is amazing. No one is responding. Fine. I said that in a deep sea hydrothermal ecosystem, the food chain starts with chemosynthetic bacteria. You know what are chemosynthetic bacteria, so I'm not going in detail. But you must be aware of this. Those which synthesize food by obtaining energy through oxidation of various compounds, emerging out in this hydrothermal vent. From the center of the earth, whatever magma and other material is coming out, ejected out into the basin. From that smoky stuff, materials are taken up by the bacteria, they are oxidized, and the energy is released, and that energy is captured in synthesis of food. This is called chemosynthesis. Excuse me. Most of the ecosystems which are run by the solar energy obtained from sun, in terms of solar radiations received by the ecosystem. Now, whatever solar radiations are obtained, its 50% is PAR. That stands for photosynthetic active radiation. Rest 50% are the other radiations. My question to you guys is, what is the bandwidth in terms of radiation wavelength for photosynthetic active radiation? ये आपने चैप्टर नंबर 13 स्टैंडर्ड 11th में फोटोसिंथेसिस टॉपिक में लर्न कर लिया है. Within which wavelength range actually it is 400 to 700 nanometer. Have you studied this thing or not? This is termed as light, which is a small part of solar spectrum. Let me explain. Excuse me. Whatever radiation is coming from the sun, that is termed as solar spectrum. In this solar spectrum, the wavelength between 400 to 700 nanometer, that portion is termed as light. It is known as light. There are other radiations also. For example, on this side, less than 400 nanometer, there is UV radiations. On the other side, you have ultraviolet, infrared radiations in band after the 700 nanometer. It is the infrared radiations. And you know that on this side and this side, different wavelength, together it makes the solar spectrum. First of all, are you aware of this fact? Are you aware of this thing or not, damn it? Out of all these radiations, I said that whatever radiation is coming from the sun is called solar radiation. It comes in the form of a spectrum with waves of different wavelengths. So many different types of waves are there. Radio waves are there, microwaves are there, infrared radiations, UV radiations, light. Out of these different parts of the spectrum, light, when you say, it refers to all solar radiations which are in the range of 400 to 700 nanometer. This is the only radiation which can induce photosynthesis. So we call it as PAR, photosynthetic active radiation. From the PAR, whatever light is available, it's hardly 2% to as much as 10% is maximum that can be captured by the plants in any ecosystem. If the ecosystem is very efficient, then it can absorb maximum 10% of that what is actually available. Solar radiation ka 50% is PAR. उसका भी 2 to 10% ही यूटिलाइजेबल होता है to the plants in any ecosystem. If a efficient most ecosystem is there, it will take up to 10%. If the least efficient ecosystem is there, it can absorb as much as only 2% of the what is available in form of PAR, photosynthetic active radiation. Rest of the energy, you can say 98% to as much as 90%, it gets reflected back from the Earth's surface, or it will be absorbed by the Earth's surface, but then it will not be reaching to the plants over there. So that is how it happens. Have you understood? Third point. In any ecosystem, I have already mentioned 3 components are there: producers, consumers, and decomposers. Producers के बारे में भी मैंने explain किया था. Different forms of producers are there. For example, if you are in an aquatic ecosystem, the producers cannot be trees. आपने देखा है ओशन में या रिवर में बीच में ट्री ग्रो करे? It is not possible. So basically, there will be phytoplankton, algae, and higher plants. In which sense? Even bryophyte, pteridophyte, and other angiosperms. But the ones which may be aquatic, some may be submerged, some may be free floating, all those varieties will be found as producer organisms. Photosynthetic producers I am talking about. On the other hand, on a terrestrial ecosystems, you can have somewhere algae, but mostly it is the herbs and shrubs and trees. The woody plants will include shrubs and trees. They are the dominant producers in these ecosystems. So that was a profile of producer organisms, those which can carry out photosynthesis. Second is consumers. All the animals which are dependent on plants, whether directly or indirectly, they all come under the category of consumers. They are of different categories, so they have been further classified into primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Primary consumers are those which feed upon what? Plants directly. So they are called herbivores. Secondary consumers, they feed upon herbivore. And tertiary consumers can feed upon herbivore as well as secondary consumers. So they are the carnivores over there. सेकेंडरी कंज्यूमर भी कार्निवोर है, टर्शियरी कंज्यूमर भी कार्निवोर है, बट दे आर डिफरेंट लेवल्स ऑफ कार्निवोर. जैसे प्राइमरी कार्निवोर है, दैट इज अ सेकेंडरी कंज्यूमर. सेकेंडरी कार्निवोर है, दैट इज अ टर्शियरी कंज्यूमर इन द चेन. आप एक चेन के थ्रू थोड़ा अंडरस्टैंडिंग एस्टेब्लिश कर सकते हो. जस्ट होल्ड ऑन. So look at this one. The solar energy is reaching to the producer. So I call this as which one? Producer organism. Then this caterpillar which feeds upon them. What name should I give to the caterpillar? Look at this one. Primary consumer, yes or no? Then it is being eaten up by the next category of the consumer. We call it as the secondary consumer. Isn't it? Like a sparrow. Further, it can be eaten up by the another consumer. In this case, the hawk and vulture type of organisms. That is called as tertiary consumer. So I hope you guys have understood the concept of producers, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. See, ultimately there will be third category, that is which one? Decomposers. Those are there in every ecosystem. And they to derive energy from producer, from primary consumers, from secondary consumers, from tertiary consumers, top consumers. They keep receiving energy from them, all of them. So basic idea of an ecosystem regarding their producer organisms, regarding their consumers, subtypes of consumer being primary, secondary, and tertiary. Is this clear on your side, on your part? Okay, then I can take you to the next level. The concept of food chain and food web. See, uh, chain constituted by the living organisms through the interdependency for the energy and food material or food matter. In an ecosystem, there can be different organisms. There can be different organisms. These organisms show some sort of interdependence with regard to the energy and food requirements. Like previously you saw, na, top carnivore are dependent upon secondary consumer, or tertiary consumer is dependent upon secondary consumer for its food and energy requirement. Secondary consumer is dependent upon primary consumer for food and energy. Primary consumer is dependent upon the producers for food and energy. And producers are dependent upon sun for energy and soil and water for the matter through which they will flourish. So you can make out that whether it is tertiary consumer, secondary consumer, primary consumer, producer, they all are interlinked with respect to the energy flow and the matter flow. Flow of the matter and flow of the energy, they are interlinked. This interlinkage in an ecosystem establishes what is termed as food chain. How many have understood concept of a food chain? In an ecosystem, first of all, ये ecosystem के अंदर होता है. So in an ecosystem, living organism, this is constituted by the living organisms. So living organisms in an ecosystem, they get interlinked to form a chain-like structure. This interlinkage is due to their interdependency for energy and matter flow, flow of energy and flow of matter. With respect to that, they exhibit interdependency and they establish a chain. This chain is known as food chain. Is there anyone in your batch who can repeat this definition, what I have given? My question to you guys is, I'm running short of words. You're coming back to the square one, like the way we had started and you were not responding earlier. In between, you people started responding, I started appreciating, and again coming back to the same position. You have become the dumb dodos in a same manner. Any reason for that? Madam, ask them to switch on the camera. You all will switch on the camera.
All of you switch on your camera. Astha Solanki, Dhruti Shah, switch on your camera fast. Faiza Khan, Forum Shah, Preya Shah, Forum and Faiza, switch on your camera. Dhruti Shah.
Ma'am, there is an internet issue on my side.
Okay, Dhruti. Astha Solanki. Sir, Astha Solanki and Faiza Khan, they are not responding.
हेलो मैम.
Remove.
हाँ आस्था बोलो.
हाँ मैम, वो नेटवर्क थोड़ा लैग हुआ था, उसकी वजह से वॉइस नहीं आया, पर अभी लास्ट में आपने बोला ना वो सुनाई दिया.
ओके आस्था. Faiza Khan. Okay sir, only one student, Faiza Khan.
Remove for time being. Then give entry as in when she comes and ask if she replies. And if she doesn't reply, then remove her for entire lecture.
Okay sir.
Now my question to you guys is the simple one. अगर आपको पता नहीं चलता है तो you let me know this thing कि sir not clear, sir repeat. और अगर पता चल गया है तो respond करो so that I can go to the next topic. You are wasting our time. Tell me, what is the answer? What is a food chain if I ask you the way I mentioned? Can you do so? आप में से किसी ने लिखा है? बोलो हाँ यस लिखो अगर आप में से किसी ने लिखा है तो. This is the issue with you guys, that you don't even write down the basic things which are required. Everything is given on the screen. अगर उसमें से एक दो लाइन एक्स्ट्रा अगर आती है तो आपके नोट्स या टेक्स्ट में वो लिखने से आपके हाथ को क्या श्रम पड़ेगा, मुझे तो ये नहीं समझ में आता है आपसे. Is it totally hopeless in terms of your response today? Very disappointing one. Anyways, that's your choice. You have chosen that. I cannot help in that further. Okay. You're not going to reply. Then I have to give some sort of reply later. I will stop teaching. You learn from other teachers. If you do not want me to teach, then it is your choice. That's the way I have to reply now. आप लोग नहीं पढ़ना चाहते मुझसे तो that is your choice. I said that in an ecosystem, the living organisms are interlinked with respect to the flow of energy and matter. This this is what is called as a food chain. In ecosystem, there can be two different types of food chains. One is a grazing food chain. Another one is detritus food chain. One is a grazing food chain and another one is a detritus food chain. Grazing food chain always starts with, you can say, producer organisms, wherein the source of energy is sun, and the first organism to start the chain has to be the producer organism. Okay. Example. All of you go off the screen. Just few examples have been quoted here. Starting with one, grass and herbs and trees as a producers, deer as a herbivore, feeding upon them. and lion as a carnivore feeding upon such herbivores over there. It's a very simplest example of a food chain. Another example, plants, herbs and shrubs with the flowers, nectar and other stuff eaten up by the insects, the pollinators like flies and butterflies and others. They being eaten up by the shall I call it as a consumer or producer? फ्रॉग को मैं क्या बोलूं? कंज्यूमर बोल सकता हूं. Yes, consumer. Can you please let me know which level consumer is this? Primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary? You all are wrong. Absolutely wrong. This is a secondary consumer. प्रिया, स्वाति पांडा, ऐसे ऐसे बड़े बड़े स्टूडेंट्स भी completely wrong है. If this is the producer, rest all are consumer. In which herbivore is a primary consumer. And these carnivores in this is the secondary consumer, next is tertiary consumer, next is quaternary consumer, जो भी है next level. We are top consumer. Did you get the sense? Flowers and their stuff is eaten up by the insects, pollinators. Pollinators like butterflies and flies eaten up by the frogs. Frogs eaten up by the snakes. Snakes eaten up by the eagle. Each one passing energy and matter to the next category organism. This interlinks them. This is what is called as food chain. Is this clear on your side? Even in an aquatic ecosystem, you got to give the labelings now from your side. First of all, what labeling I should give to this Hydrilla vallisneria and other such algae and other such aquatic plants like Hydrilla vallisneria? Yeah, you got to call them as producers. Then these fishes which are feeding upon this algae, which are feeding upon these smaller plants such as Hydrilla vallisneria, etc., lotus, etc. These are called primary consumer. What is another name for primary consumer? Herbivores, yes. They are herbivores. And rest all, for example, those fishes which feed upon the smaller and those birds which feed upon these larger fishes. So for them, one common term is which one? What's that common term for all of them? They all are carnivores. Now, can you tell me for herbivores, what should I write down in terms of herbivores? What should I write down in terms of consumer category? These small fishes are coming under which category? Primary consumer. Always remember. The primary consumers are to be eaten up by which one? These large fishes. What should I write down? Secondary consumer. और ये bird, tertiary consumer. Remember this one. One more question. From these, which one is a primary carnivore? Correct. From the same. Which one is a primary consumer? Now it seems you guys are understanding it. For lion, what is the status as far as carnivore is concerned, as far as consumer level is concerned in the given food chain? Tell me. Lion ka carnivore level or lion ka consumer level for a given food chain? Can you know? Can you present? Exactly. कंज्यूमर में सेकेंडरी, कार्निवोर में प्राइमरी है ये. So you guys understand this. We go to the food chain topic again. There is another type of a food chain that can prevail in an ecosystem, and that is called as detritus food chain. And mind you, detritus food chain, it will not start with producer organism. It will start with detritus feeder, the detritus and the detritus feeder. अब ये क्या कंसेप्ट है मैं आपको एक्सप्लेन करता हूं. सी कोई फूड चेन अगर डेट्राइटस से स्टार्ट होता है, व्हाट इज अ डेट्राइटस? Dead leaves, dead branches, dead fruits, flowers and seeds etc. dropped on the soil, or dead bodies which are lying on the ground. Some organisms feed upon that detritus over there. They are the first organisms in that chain. Detritus to dead material hai. Food chains are supposed to be developed from living organisms. So detritus को आप dead leaves या flowers को आप नहीं consider कर सकते as the first organism, but it is considered as a detritus material. This detritus is first eaten up by the detritus feeders, and they get eaten up by the subsequent organisms over there, the varieties of carnivores over there. This is a unique food chain which starts with detritus and not with producer organisms. We call it as detritus food chain. Have you understood or not? Now I got a question for you. सोच के आंसर देना. Deep sea hydrothermal ecosystem, is it an example of detritus food chain or no? Yes, fortunately you all have given a good answer, because it starts with the producer organism. Remember, chemosynthetic organisms, you remember chemosynthetic bacteria? So it has to start with the producers, and then subsequently the remaining one over there. So at least it cannot be, it may not be a typical example of a grazing food chain, but at least it is not an example of which one? The detritus food chain also. So these kind of detritus food chains are starting with either detritus feeders, or it starts even with saprophytes and decomposers. आपको पता है saprophytes क्या होते हैं? They feed upon dead organic matter or detritus. Some directly feed upon it, others digest it and absorb the nutrients. First का example है earthworm, directly feeds upon detritus. Second का example है fungi. They don't feed the dead matter, but they digest the dead matter and absorb the nutrients. इसको saprophytic mode भी कहते हैं. So saprotrophs are the ones which can start the food chains. Then decomposers like bacteria, etc., secreting the extracellular digestive enzymes over the food, digesting it, absorbing the nutrients over there. Grazing food chain, the major conduit for energy flow in an ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem. अच्छा, most of the aquatic ecosystem में GFCs are dominant over there. GFCs are dominant. Major conduit for energy flow. Conduit का meaning होता है channel, pathway. So most of the energy flow in an aquatic ecosystem is occurring through which one? Grazing food chains. The detritus food chain is a major conduit for energy flow in terrestrial ecosystem. Terrestrial ecosystem में grazing food chain के साथ साथ एक major food chains जो होती है वो कौन सी है? Detritus food chain. So many organisms feed upon detritus और वहां से food chain start होती है. So always remember, the dominant food chains in aquatic ecosystems are GFC. The dominant food chains in terrestrial ecosystems are DFC. And which are the dominant food chains in Australia? Does anyone know? KFC. KFC burger सुना है आपने? Australian है. Heard about it? Anyways, jokes apart, coming back to the topic, GFC, the dominant food chains for aquatic ecosystems, and DFC being the dominant food chains for terrestrial ecosystems. Remember this one. Terrestrial ecosystem में क्या होता है कि जो detritus होता है उसका scale ज़्यादा होता है. The trees and plants and animals' dead bodies, they lie down on the ground to eaten up by so many organisms and food chains start over there. It is not the case that terrestrial ecosystem में grazing food chain नहीं होता है, वहां पे भी होता है, but ये भी एक dominant force है DFC. अच्छा, aquatic में क्यों इतना ज्यादा dominant force नहीं है ये? Aquatic में जो भी dead material होता है ना वो सीधा कहाँ पे बैठता है? Bottom of the aquatic body. तो उस bottom में से ये materials के ऊपर dependent रहने वाले organisms के numbers कम है comparatively aquatic ecosystem में. So we can say that yes, DFC will dominate the terrestrial and GFC will dominate the aquatic ecosystems. Next, food web. Food web. Can you imagine that if there is an ecosystem, you will have only one food chain in an ecosystem? Is it possible? Tell me. जैसे हमारा वो previous diagram अगर हम देखते हैं, just this one, same. इसमें ये अगर flower है, flies है, frogs है, snakes है और eagle है, you think that the plant तो इसके ऊपर कोई और एनिमल होगा या नहीं होगा? Dependent. Is it only flies which are dependent upon them? There may be caterpillars also. हाँ या ना? The caterpillars can be eaten up by the frogs also. The caterpillars can be eaten up by the sparrows also. The sparrows can be eaten up by the eagle also. The flies can be eaten up by the lizards also, in that garden lizard and all that. These lizards can be eaten up by the snakes. They can be eaten up by the eagle. They can pass on their energy to eagle also. So you see, one by one, you just keep one organism, one species dependent upon any one of them, and it becomes so much complex network like this, where so many parallel running food chains, they get interconnected with each other. They get interconnected with each other. The naturally, this interconnections of food chains are established in an ecosystem, and it leads to what is the development of what is called as a food web. What is your opinion? In any ecosystem, there are exclusive food chains, individual, or there are always food webs? Always there are food webs. There can be no isolated food chains over there, because a given organism of the food chain will always be eaten up by some other members of the other food chain, and it may be eating the members of some other food chain. So it will always interconnect them. जैसे यहाँ पे एक बड़ा सा लंबा फूड चेन है जो मैं आपको एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ. ये आई गेस berries will represent what? Tell me. What should I call it as? Producer. You agree or not? Exactly. Then in the same food chain, what is the status of this green fly? Tell me. Which consumer? Pandit, primary consumer. Shall I write down PC? हाँ जी, आगे जाते हैं. ये लेडी बर्ड बीटल है. What should I call it as? SC? Secondary consumer. Then dragonfly. What should I call it as? Tertiary consumer. Then this one, frog. Which one? Quaternary consumer. Then snake. I don't know what you call, something like penta, some consumer. Maybe then after hexa level of consumer, or I can call it even as a top most consumer over there. You guys understand? हाँ है ना? चलो मैं एक क्वेश्चन पूछ लेता हूँ इसके ऊपर. फ्रॉग का कार्निवोर लेवल कौन सा है? इस चेन में फ्रॉग का कार्निवोर लेवल कौन सा है? देवांशी इज रॉन्ग. वृंदा इज रॉन्ग. देखो ये तो हर्बीवोर है. ये कार्निवोर ऑफ लेवल 1, ये कार्निवोर ऑफ लेवल 2, ये फ्रॉग कार्निवोर ऑफ लेवल 3. टर्शियरी कार्निवोर बन जाता है. ओके. Now here you can see that one member of a given food chain is connected with the other food chains also. So there arises the, food web concept of a food web. Several, in a given ecosystem, the several food chains get interconnected to establish what is called as food web, a concept of a food web. Have you understood the same? Okay. Now, when organisms occupy I'm explaining another very important concept of trophic levels. Concept of trophic levels in an ecosystem. I'm sure you are aware about the meaning of the term trophic. Are you aware about the meaning of the term trophic? Yeah, Devanshi, tell me, what is trophic term related to? Not clear. Fine. Anyone else who knows what are trophic levels? No, it is not. No. The literal meaning of the trophic. No, wrong. Trophic term is related with nutrition. Not only energy, it's for nutrition. Have you ever come across the terms autotrophic? Providing nutrition to themselves. Heterotrophic. Dependent on others for nutrition. So you know the term trophic is related with nutrition. Number one. You don't know, I told you now, just now. So when you say trophic levels, literally nutritional levels, which sense each organism is going to provide nutrition to the others in the given food chain and food web. So these are the different levels in a food chain or food web regarding their feeding relationship with the other organisms. Each organism may be the source of food for some other organism. And each one will be eating other organism. So this leads to, this leads to, organisms to occupy specific position in a food chain. We call it as the trophic level. Now, you know that in a food chain, for example, just starting with the producers, then primary consumer, then secondary consumer, and then tertiary consumer. For example, you can say the phytoplankton primary consumer, the primary producer, the zooplankton primary consumers, the fishes secondary consumer, and others, birds feeding upon those fishes, the tertiary consumer. So these all are basically producers. These all are basically various consumers in different, primary consumers in different ecosystems. These are secondary consumers and these are tertiary consumers. Remember always, producers occupy first trophic level. Next trophic level, second trophic level occupied by primary consumers. Third trophic level occupied by secondary consumers. Fourth trophic level is occupied by tertiary consumers. Remember this one. With their trophic level and example. Through one example, this thing can be understood very well. So let us go through that example. What I have encircled, tell me. What I had encircled. A grazing food chain. Fine. Next. You guys got to give me information on trophic level. Okay. चलो फ्लावर प्लांट कौन सा ट्रॉफिक लेवल है फूड चेन का ये जिससे स्टार्ट हो रहा है फूड चेन. Which trophic level is that? First trophic level. Flies belong to which trophic level? Second trophic level. Frog, third trophic level. Snake, eagle, as many layers in this food chain, that many number of trophic levels you have to consider. Number one. आगे जाते हैं. इसको क्या नेम दिया था हमने? Primary producers. You agree or not? इसको क्या नेम दिया था हमने? Primary consumer. तो फ्रॉग को क्या नेम दिया था? फ्रॉग इन द सेंस इस पोजीशन के ऑर्गेनिज्म को सेकेंडरी कंज्यूमर. स्नेक, स्नेक, ईगल, is this understood? अच्छा, इसको पॉपुलरली क्या कहते हैं? प्रोड्यूसर. इसको पॉपुलरली क्या कहते हैं? प्रोड्यूसर. इसको क्या कहते हैं? पीसी को? हर्बीवोर. इसमें कार्निवोर का कौन सा लेवल आएगा फ्रॉग में? फर्स्ट लेवल, प्राइमरी लेवल कार्निवोर. फिर स्नेक का क्या लेवल आएगा? सेकेंडरी लेवल कार्निवोर. ईगल का क्या लेवल आएगा? This is something which you got to understand every time you fast. If I say that plant and butterflies and frog and snake and eagle are they are what? Members of the given food chain. Members of the given food chain. And if I ask you that for the snake, what is the trophic level? What is the consumer level? And what is the carnivore level? अगर मैं ये पूछता हूं, if I ask you the same, what shall be your answer for the snake? Trophic level का number? Fourth. Correct. Consumer level का number? Third. Remember. Carnivore level का number? 2. Mind you this thing. इसी सीक्वेंस में जाने का आपको. ओके? फ्रॉग का ये लिखो. फ्रॉग का ये सीक्वेंस लिखो. Isn't it? बटरफ्लाई का ये सीक्वेंस लिखो. 210. Trophic level number 2, consumer level number 1, and not a carnivore, herbivore है. फ्लावर का लिखो, 100. वेरी नाइस. ईगल का लिखो, exactly. You guys have understood, it seems. तो इधर स्नेक का लिखो, वो वाला जो सीक्वेंस मैंने दिया है, ट्रॉफिक लेवल, कंज्यूमर लेवल एंड कार्निवोर लेवल. Yeah, it seems you guys are understanding the same. But that is when you consider this food chain. Am I right or wrong? Had you considered, look at this one. Stop replying. Had you considered this food chain? Have a look. तो फिर स्नेक के वो 3 पॉइंट्स लिखो. सही है. It's true, the same. Yes. Another concept that you need to understand here is the same, this. Trophic level is understood. Now, the important point that is to be noted down, because it is all about energy flow. I hope you can recall what we are learning about is the energy flow topic. Our topic is which one? Energy flow. Usko learn kar rahe hain hum. So in that you can understand that an important aspect, that whatever energy was received, whatever was passed on, it's hardly 2% was received over here, or 10% of that. From that energy in the form of a food passes to the successive trophic levels over there. Every time when energy passes, just a minute. Fine. So sorry for the disturbance. I said that whatever energy is been trapped at this level, the first trophic level, the producers, it's certain percent only passes to the next, because larger portion of energy which was captured by the producers is being lost into the atmosphere, dissipated into the atmosphere. Then whatever energy is trapped at the primary consumer level, its small portion reaches to the secondary consumers level, because primary consumers, they themselves lose a lot of energy, because whenever they respire, they release heat. So in that way, a lot of energy which is there in the body of the organism is being lost to the next trophic level before it goes to the next trophic level. Then further, when this the secondary consumers pass on the energy to the tertiary consumers, very less amount of energy passes to them, because lots of energy is being lost by the secondary consumers in their own respiration. So again, there will be a loss. So every time Before the energy goes from one trophic level to another trophic level, lots of energy has been lost, dissipated into the environment. So the amount of energy that is passing from one successive trophic level to the another successive trophic level, it is lesser and lesser. Achha. Meanwhile, another way of loss of energy is this one, that, when plants are supposed to be eaten up by the primary consumers, not all plant material will be eaten up by. So what happens? Some of the detritus will be straight away undergoing decomposition. So again, energy goes to the decomposers and not to the primary consumers. Same happens when primary consumers, before they are fully eaten up by the secondary consumers, some of them can die and decompose, and their energy goes to the decomposers. Same happens with the next trophic level. So not that each trophic level passes some energy to the next trophic level. In between, it itself is using and losing a lot of energy. Also, if it is dying, decomposing, so that much of energy stored is straight away going to the decomposers over there. This is the way every time energy passes from one trophic level to another trophic level, there is a lot of loss of energy. This has led to, it's actually the second law of thermodynamics, which suggests that when energy transforms, there is a loss of energy. So as per that, from that, actually the 10% law has come into picture. In ecology, there is something what is called as a 10% law. What do we mean by 10% law? It says that only 10% of the energy is transferred from given trophic level to the next trophic level. Hypothetically, I would say that if 1,000 joule energy is stored over here, can you tell me how much energy will be reaching to primary consumer if producer itself has stored 1,000? Exactly 100 joule. If a primary consumer has stored 100 joule energy or captured that much energy in it, how much energy will be passed to the secondary consumer level of the given food chain? Exactly 10. If secondary consumers have stored 10 joule energy in them, how much energy shall reach to the tertiary consumer over there? Yes, this is identified as a 10% rule. And this is the reason why the number of trophic levels in a grazing food chain are restricted to hardly few only in this transfer of energy, where 10% law is prevalent, because only 10% energy will be transferred from one trophic level to another one. इसमें क्या होगा कि जितने ज्यादा कंज्यूमर लेवल, उतना कम एनर्जी रीच करेगा टू द टॉप कंज्यूमर लेवल. यू अग्री और नॉट? इसमें अगर 4 ट्रॉफिक लेवल है तो टॉप कार्निवोर को जितना एनर्जी रीच करता है, उसकी जगह पे यहाँ पे अगर कितने ट्रॉफिक लेवल होते हैं, 7 या 8 ट्रॉफिक लेवल होते तो क्या होता? अमाउंट रीचिंग वुड बी इन 0.001% or 1 joule, something like that. Proportionately ऐसा हो सकता था. How many of you understand that? I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to explain. More the number of trophic levels, lesser the energy supply, towards the last trophic levels or top trophic levels over there. You agree or not? That may not be sufficient for their survival. Henceforth, the grazing food chains in most of the ecosystems have a limited number of trophic levels. ये food chains normally इतनी long नहीं होती है. Maximum 5 to 7 trophic levels and it gets accomplished over there. You understand that? Now, each trophic level has एक definition है जिसको आपको understand करना है और फिर याद रखना है. MCQ के लिए बहुत ही important है, extremely important from MCQ point of view, board exam, good CT and NEET point of view. It's called standing crop. क्या है कि लेटर ऑन एक और डेफिनेशन आएगी जिसको कहते हैं स्टैंडिंग स्टेट. तो स्टूडेंट्स को जनरली इस दोनों में कंफ्यूजन क्रिएट हो जाता है. दिस इज द रीजन एग्जामिनर्स का ये फेवरेट है. द डेफिनेशन सेज दैट ईच ट्रॉफिक लेवल हैज अ सर्टेन mass. Mass means biomass, the matter that is stored in their bodies. Each trophic level has a certain mass of a living material at a particular time. This is called as standing crop. आप एक इकोसिस्टम ले लीजिए कि जैसे एक ग्रासलैंड है, उसमें all producer organisms, all primary consumers, all secondary consumers and all top consumers. फिर उनका बायोमास वर्कआउट कर लीजिए. हर एक का वेट, बायोमास इज इन टर्म्स ऑफ वेट. तो वो अगर वर्कआउट करते हैं, जैसे इसका x tons of biomass है, तो at a given point of time, whatever is the biomass at a given trophic level is considered that trophic level's standing crop. How many have understood what I am saying? Standing crop could be it can have the value for producer level, for herbivore level, for varieties of carnivore level. हर एक level पे वो workout किया जा सकता है. You can work out. Basically, it's a biomass per unit area of a given trophic level. आपके पास एक बड़ा सा फार्म है, आप पूरे या फील्ड है, पूरे का तो स्टडी नहीं कर सकते. आप एक स्क्वायर मीटर का एरिया वर्कआउट कर लेते हैं, उसमें जितने प्रोड्यूसर्स है उसको निकाल के उसका बायोमास का वेट करें. दैट वुड बी द बायोमास of the producer trophic level in a unit area at a given point of time. That would be called as a standing crop. उसी की जगह पे अगर आप herbivores उस एरिया के जितने हैं उसका नंबर निकालते, उनका वेट करते, that would have been the biomass of herbivores in a unit area of that ecosystem at a given point of time. That would be the standing crop for herbivores. And same could be for primary carnivore and secondary carnivore and like that for each one. Have you understood this thing? आपको तो पता है ना, बायोमास में वो 11th स्टैंडर्ड चैप्टर 9 में ड्राई वेट एंड वेट वेट लर्न किया था. So biomass is all about that dry weight, wet weight, etc. As it is material को weigh करते हो तो wet weight, उसमें से वाटर इवोपरेट करते हो जो एक्चुअली बायोमास का 80-90% होता है वेट वेट के बायोमास का. तो फिर वो जो रह जाता है वो हार्डली 10 to 20% बायोमास. दैट इज अ ड्राई वेट. आई होप यू रिमेम्बर ऑल दैट स्टफ. मेजरमेंट ऑफ बायोमास आइडियली इट शुड बी फॉर अ ड्राई वेट बिकॉज वाटर लेवल बहुत ज्यादा होता है बायोमास में टिपिकल वेट मास में. So ideal one is this, dry mass, dry weight measurement. That's the way it can be worked out. See, the red arrows indicate energy flow. So from sun, the solar energy first received by the producers. Some amount of energy is lost by producers into the atmosphere as a heat. Some amount passed on to decomposers as their detritus was directly reaching to decomposers, not via consumer. And some amount they pass on to the consumers. उसमें भी पहले consumers हो गए जो herbivores हो गए. Herbivores and primary carnivore and secondary carnivore, they constitute the consumer chain. Each one passing energy from one trophic to another trophic level, each one losing energy in the form of heat into the surrounding, and each one losing a lot of energy to the decomposers when their dead bodies go for decomposition. Decomposers, they themselves being living beings, they will also lose energy in the form of heat. This is how the energy flows in an ecosystem. Sun to producers, to herbivores, to carnivores, and from producer, herbivore, carnivore, from all of them, decomposers, and from decomposers to further surrounding. So this is how the energy is getting dissipated ultimately. As far as matter is concerned, the inorganic nutrients to be obtained by the producers first from the ecosystem, further passed on to consumers, further passed on from consumers and producers, both, because whenever they die and decomposed by the decomposers, the nutrients reach to decomposers and from them back to abiotic environment. So abiotic to producer to consumer, and from producer consumer to decomposers, and from decomposers back to abiotic world. This is how energy and matter flow in an ecosystem. If you have any question regarding today's lecture, you can ask, clarify the things. It seems no, nothing is to be asked. Well, next time we shall discuss about ecological pyramids and their limitations. We shall also discuss about productivity topic, very important from exam point of view. Today we discussed about energy flow. In that, first we talked about PAR. What is the full form of PAR? What's the full form of PAR? Am I audible to all of you? Photosynthetic active radiation. How much part of solar radiations is constituted by PAR? PAR constitutes wrong. All are wrong, horribly wrong. Kea and Eva and all. Heli. ये गप्पेबाज लोग हैं. Less than 50% of the solar radiations, PAR constitutes less than 50% of the entire solar spectrum over there. From the PAR, how much is captured by the plants? 2 to 10%. In which ecosystem the sun is not the source of energy? कुछ भी गप्पेबाजी करते रहते हो यार, बहुत भंगार हो आप लोग, कुछ भी गप्पेबाजी करते हो. एक ही स्टूडेंट है जिसने वर्ड यूज किया डीप सी हाइड्रोथर्मल इकोसिस्टम. मैंने ये पूछा, I asked the question that in which ecosystem sun is not the source of energy. आप मुझे फूड चेन के बारे में बोल रहे हो, मैं आपको इकोसिस्टम के बारे में पूछ रहा हूँ. Which are the first members in the food chains of deep sea hydrothermal ecosystem. Chemoautotrophs or chemosynthetic bacteria are the ones. Correct. Which three varieties constitute the species composition of any ecosystem? Which three varieties of organisms should be there in any ecosystem's composition? There should be producers, there should be consumers, and there should be decomposers. In an ecosystem, due to the interdependence for nutrition or energy flow, the chain of organisms is constituted, which is called as a food chain. Which two types of food chains prevail? Which are the first organisms in GFC, grazing food chains? Which are the first organisms in grazing food chains? Producers. Which are the organisms to begin the detritus food chain? Decomposers or saprotrophs. You see, detritus is not an organism. Gabe ho yaar aap log. बोलता हूं कि detritus is not organism. I am asking which organism start the food chain over there. तो detritus लिखते हो. Detritus is a material. Food chain has to start with the organism. So it is eaten up by the decomposer or saprotroph or detritus feeder. Any one of these can start such a food chain. Which food chains are major conduit of energy flow in aquatic ecosystem? Done. Which ecosystems are the one where detritus food chains are major conduits of energy flow? Terrestrial ecosystems, land-based ecosystems. What happens when several food chains get interconnected in a given ecosystem? Establishment of food web. The various trophic levels, if you have to understand the first trophic level, second trophic level, third, and like that. At which trophic level herbivores are present always? In any food chain, second is correct. If there are different trophic levels in a food chain, phytoplankton will come at which trophic level? Agreed. Grasshopper will come at which trophic level? Correct, second. Zooplankton will come at which trophic level? Zooplankton which feed upon phytoplankton should come at which trophic level? Second. I guess you have understood. Whatever biomass is stored at a given trophic level at a given point of time in an ecosystem, it is known as what? standing crop. Which law is used to understand, to exemplify the true nature of energy flow in an ecosystem? 10% law. Suggesting that every time energy passes from one trophic level to another, hardly 10% energy passes from the previous trophic level to the next one. This is the reason why limited number of trophic levels are there in the different food chains. What is the which law is responsible for understanding of this thing, that why there should be a loss of energy from one trophic level to another one? In physics, which law can, or chemistry and physics, which law can exemplify this aspect? The second law of thermodynamics. पता है ना आपको? फर्स्ट लॉ तो ऐसा है कुछ के the total volume of the energy is constant in the universe. Energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. These are the postulates for the points of the first thermodynamics law. The second law of thermodynamics says what? Tell me. कभी लर्न किया है second law of thermodynamics? और किया है तो what is the statement for the same? Tell me, so that I can link it with this our 10% law. Nothing? इतना सारा आप लोग स्टडी करते हो फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री, तो क्या ये लर्न नहीं किया आपने? सेकंड लॉ ऑफ थर्मोडायनेमिक्स. No one knows? That is amazing and that is interesting. Really, no one can help you, not even a god. Yeah, there is always increase in entropy. In a spontaneous manner in any system, this happens. उसका biological translation अगर consider करते हैं, biological term में consider करते हैं, तो एक ऐसा भी understanding है कि energy can be transformed from its one form to another form. Whenever energy transformation takes place, there is a loss of energy, or there is a loss of energy during that transformation in the given system. In any system, if energy is transformed, there will be a loss of energy from the system. ऐसा. So entropy increase होता रहता है, disturbance level. अच्छा, energy transformation to जब living organism in the form of heat, it is lost from the system. So whenever any living organism uses the energy in its body for respiration and this and that activity, जहाँ पे भी energy का use होता है, actually an organism is transforming the energy from one form to another form. At that time, in the body of an organism as a system, whenever energy transformations occur, whether it is the plant or herbivore or carnivore, each organism carries out such energy transformation. Each organism will lose energy in the form of heat at that time. That is the one indicated over here. I show you in the pic कि कौन सा वाला energy मैं discuss कर रहा हूँ. ये जो हम discuss करते हैं ना, ये उस energy को कहते हैं जो organism अपने body में जब भी energy transformations करता है, उस टाइम पे ये एनर्जी को लॉस करता है. इट इज दैट एनर्जी. दिस इज द एनर्जी विच इज passing from one trophic level to another while it is eaten up. This is the energy loss when its dead body parts are decomposed by the decomposers. ये जो एनर्जी की इंडिकेशन है, ये कौन सी एनर्जी है? It is that energy which is lost by every trophic level and its organisms when within their body they utilize energy, transform the energy from one form to another form. Well, with this, I conclude today's lecture. As I mentioned, in the next lecture, we're going to talk about ecological pyramids and productivity topics.